Quickly you descend the steps and take shelter below his lowly tavern. In this lowly tavern. The cellar is full of rough-faced villains, laughing and bragging about their illegal exploits as they swill their sour ale. You cross the crowded floor and sit at the end of a table, as far away from the door as possible. A thin, wiry fellow with curly black hair approaches you with a tankard of foaming ale in one hand. You have taken his seat, and he is determined to get it back. If you have ever escaped from the South Gate Tower... Alright, this is one of the things I like about this book a lot. There's a lot of different paths. Like, if I hadn't have gone to that food house, I never would have been arrested. I actually would have just gone to Bainden's teacher. Or if I had those disciplines when I was in jail, I could have escaped, and I would have met this guy, and this, and that. And this book had a lot of different paths to it. In any case, no, I have not escaped from the South Gate Tower. Find somewhere else to sit, stranger. This place is mine, he demands, grasping the hilt of his dagger with his free hand. You sense movement outside in the street, and you glance nervously at the cellar door. Get up, growls the man impatiently, drawing his dagger slowly from his sheath. If you dare cross Saw of Sunitina, you'll not live long enough to regret it. Oh god, why is everyone trying to pick a fight with me, honestly? At the same instant, the door burst open, and in rushed 6 heavily armed Senate House guards. Thinking that the ale cellar is being raided, something that of a routine event around here at the Purple Purse, the shady patrons drop their drinks and flee towards the open door and attempt to escape arrest. Sar, the thief who threatened you, heads towards a shadowy arch. You run after and grab him by the arm. Get me out of here, you plead. You can name your price. The wily thief smiles at the thought of making some easy money and holds out his hand. Give me your money pouch and I'll save your skin. Grudgingly, you hand over your gold and follow the thief through the archway, deleting any gold crowns. Oh, joy. Oh, good thing I gave them all to the beggars. Alright, that was expensive. Amid the chaos and confusion, you leave the ale cellar through a concealed door in the wall of the arch. It opens onto a sloping passage that descends to a tunnel lit by oil-soaked torches fixed at random along the tiled walls. A foul smell assails your nostrils, the unmistakable stench of an underground sewer. You follow Saw along a narrow ledge that runs parallel to a sluggish sewage channel, taking care not to slip on the slime-encrusted tiles. After a few minutes, he halts beneath one of the sputtering torches and presses its rusty iron bracket. There is a grating rumble, and a section of the tunnel wall opens to reveal an amazing sight. Before you lies a huge chamber. Its walls are hung with silk and fine tapestries, and its sunken floor is piled high with glittering treasures. As you enter, a perfumed breeze ruffles your hair, and the sound of songbirds fills your ears. Saur leads you past the bubbling pool of crystal clear water into an antechamber. Here, lying on a couch of vivid scarlet, rests the ruler of this sanctuary. Dressed in an extravagant costume of many colors, his large squarish face is framed by a hood trimmed with strange purple fur. He stirs from his slumber and opens his coal black eyes. And you can see a picture of him now. He's holding up some sort of gem. Saw, who is this man? He shouts angrily. Why have you brought him here? The thief tries to offer an explanation, but it only serves to anger him even more. Saw, you sniveling fool, he bellows. You know it's forbidden to bring outsiders to the secret enclaves of the guild. I should have you flogged for your stupidity. For all we know, the Northlander could be a spy, or even... He pauses, staring up at you fiercely. An assassin! He snatches a gem from his pocket and holds it in the air. Kadul Darnir Nar Liok! He breathes, and a vivid green flame engulfs the sparkling jewel. If you have the Kai discipline of Psy Screen... No, I don't. Well, crap. Waves of pain course through your body, and your head feels as if it's being squeezed by an invisible vice. You cry out as the psychic attack increases, paralyzing your body and prizing open the secrets of your mind. Lose 5 endurance points. Oh, joy. How I do love when my mind is ripped to pieces. The man commands you to reveal the reason you are here, and you are powerless to resist his command. The man smiles smugly as you recount everything about yourself, your quest for the Lore Stone, and your ordeal at the Senate House. When finally you reach the end of your account, he gives vent to a long, sardonic laugh. I, Magahana, the Guildmaster of Thieves, in all the years I have dwelt beneath the Velvet Fortress, I have dispatched many men to the Tower Cauldron to seek out ancient treasures, though few have gone willingly, and fewer still have returned alive. Know you this, Summaluddin, the Cauldron is but one way to enter the main shaft to Xyrix. There are other routes, other shafts, and all of them are known to me. I will show you one such shaft, but you must do something in return. Is it agreed? Cautiously, you ask his terms. My son, Erebek, entered the shaft 3 moons ago, drawn by the stories of the Dragon Gold. He has not returned. All I ask is that you find his body. You bring me the ring he wears upon his right hand. Without hesitation, you agree to these terms, for they seem most reasonable. He smiles, but this time his eyes glow with strange intensity, as if he were a man on the brink of madness. Do not fail me, he says softly, holding aloft the mind gem. I shall know if you lie. Yes, yes. We all know. Magahana leads you to another room, one of several that leads from his sumptuous chamber, and approaches a dais standing near the door. He passes his hand over a crystal set into the surface, and at once a section of the wall moves inward, exposing darkness beyond. An icy damp wind fills the room, carrying with it a coiling smell of decay. Elsewhere in the chamber, the table laden with equipment, placed here, no doubt, for those who dare to venture beyond the windswept portal. Take what you need, says Magahana, his voice barely audible above the howl of the wind. Then go! He ushers Soa from the chamber and locks the door behind him. If you wish to examine the equipment, why not? There's no reason not to. You sift through the items heaped on the table and disentangle the following, which can be useful. A dagger, enough food for 3 meals, a rope, a flask of water, torch, tinderbox, bow, 3 arrows, blanket, spear. I already have weapons. Don't really need any of that. Blanket, maybe? Gold dust, the scroll of... I don't need gold dust and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure those are just red herrings that have no value whatsoever. Definitely sure the scroll of whatever doesn't. I have a rope. I have a torch, tinderbox, bows, 3. I have all this stuff that I need. Flask of water? Why not? I'll take the flask of water. There. And the blanket. Pretty darn sure I don't need gold dust. Alright. Your pulse quickens as you look into the black abyss beyond the portal. You can make out no walls or roof, and the hollow wind that whistles in the darkness makes it easy to imagine that you are staring into a limitless void. There is a rope ladder fixed to the threshold of the portal, and it descends in the darkness below. If you wish to gather up the ladder in order to judge how deep the abyss is, sure, why not? The gap between each rung measures approximately 1 foot, and you gather over 400 rungs before reaching the end of the ladder. The thought of having to descend such an enormous depth fills you with dread, but your desire to find the Lore Stone overcomes this fear. You feed the rope ladder back into the void and begin your descent. The descent is slow and arduous and fraught with hazards. The wind becomes stronger and colder the further you go, numbing your fingers and sapping your strength. A sudden gust swings you into an outcrop of black rock invisible in the gloom, and the impact forces you to lose your grip. Pick a number on the random number table. First of all, I've recovered 4 health points, I think, so let's get that in case I have to lose more. If you have the magic discipline of Hunt, Mastery, or Nuxus, add 3 to the number you picked, okay? Random number table! 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, cool. So, 81. In spite of your fatigue, your reactions are lightning fast. You regain your grip in an instant and raise your foot to steady yourself against the jagged outcrop. Then, as soon as the ladder ceases to twist like an angry snake, you continue your descent. When you reach the bottom rung, you are horrified to discover that the ladder stops short of solid ground. There is nothing but darkness below. You peer into the gloom, but it is impossible to see how much further you have to descend. To your left, you can see the faint outline of a ledge, but it is over 20 yards away. If you have a rope... I do. You tie one end of the rope to the bottom rung and drop the rest in the darkness. Seconds later, you hear it strike stone, and you realize that you will not have far to descend. As you climb down the rope, you pass through a layer of mist that glows with a cautious green-blue luminescence. 20 feet below the mist, your feet touch firm ground. There's a footnote. Remember to delete the rope from your action chart. Oh, fine. Bye, rope. I knew you well. Close to where you land lie the skeletal remains of a human body. If you wish to examine the body, yes I do. The moldering bones are encased in tattered remains of a blue leather tunic and breeches. Both thigh bones are shattered, and the skull and spine are cracked in several places, suggesting this unfortunate man fell to his death from a great height. You can find no weapons, and the backpack and haversack that are strapped to the body are both unbuckled and empty, as if they have been looted. You check the corpse's right hand, but there are no rings on any of its bony fingers. This is not Magahana's son. When you are satisfied that you have overlooked nothing, you leave the body and investigate the chamber. And by the way, I've regained my last health point, so I'm back up to 40! Yay! The rigid walls of the stone chamber narrow to a point where the mouth of the tunnel disappears steeply into the solid black rock. You enter the tunnel, taking care to control your descent as you slide towards a dim and flickering light that marks the end of the shaft. Halfway along the shaft, you hear a rumble like the sound of a distant earthquake. Then cracks appear in the roof, and a huge dolge of dust and rubble pours down, choking and blinding you as it clogs your throat and eyes. You have the discipline of Nexus. No, I don't. Alright, the dolge engulfs you so quickly that it is impossible to avoid inhaling the fine grit. As you do so, a terrible pain stabs at your chest. The dust contains the spores of a deadly fungus that is now poisoning your lungs? Unless you have the Magna Chi discipline of curing and have reached the Magna Chi rank of tutelary or higher, you must lose 8 endurance points. Ha ha! Take that, poison! I'm awesome. You're not. The circular walls shake violently, and you slip and tumble headlong down the shaft, landing with a jolt on a slab of flat, spongy rock at the edge of the huge subterranean lake. There is a tremendous roar at the ceiling as the ceiling of the tunnel collapses and tons of rock crash down to seal the shaft. Oh, that's not good. Your spirits sink as you contemplate your fate, for the only way you know of escaping from this gigantic underground grotto has now been sealed off. However, you are not completely without hope, for your senses detect a powerful presence. It is a feeling that you have known before when you have been close to discovering a lore stone. But never has this sensation been as strong as it is here in this dark, subterranean world. As your eyes become accustomed to the half-light, you look across the lake to see tiers of gray stone rising out of the water. They are the steps to a gigantic staircase, which ascends to an arch of rock veined with glittering minerals. You skirt the edge of the lake and arrive at the foot of these steps to discover a cave-like hollow chiseled from the stone. You are exhausted and must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. 23. Although the book gives no explicit restriction, it may be appropriate to consider the subterranean area a wasteland in regard to fulfilling the meal requirements for hunting of hunt mastery. I suppose that makes, I guess, but yeah, I'm just gonna eat a meal. Even though I have hunt mastery, this is not a wasteland. This is a dead city. Rather than attempt to go on, you climb into an empty hollow and settle down to sleep. You are awoken by a stench of decay. A gray-skinned being squatting on its haunches stares down at you with a grim, inhuman eyes. Drool trickles from its ragged lips, and the rusty sword it holds in its twisted man-like hands is lifted to kill. And they got a picture of this guy, and man, does he look creepy. It is a Zarek's Ghoul. 12. If you possess the Summer Sword, you may double this undead creature's endurance point loss. Yeah, but I'm not going to use the Summer Sword. It's only got a combat skill of 19. Owing to the surprise of this attack, you cannot make use of the bow. Unless you possess the Magna Chi discipline of Hunt Mastery, deduct 3 from your combat skill for the duration of the fight. The summoner sword is not really my main weapon, so I would assume it's not going to be like right next to my hand. So I'm just going to use my normal sword or broadsword, one of the two.